video, I would be covering the basics of Einstein Analytics and will share some of the use cases of these. Firstly, let's see how it works. So this is the diagram I come up after doing some hands-on and trailhead stuff. Here we can see that we can have data from different platforms, like we can access data from Salesforce data and the external data, where external data can be the CSV files. Once it enters the analytics, we need to create data sets first. We will be discussing these factors after some moment. We'll be creating their lenses, and on the basis of lens, we come up with many dashboards, which would be nothing but picture representation of data in the system. Firstly, let's see some of the terminologies. So, starting with the app. This is nothing but a fancy word for the folder, which is consist of data sets, lenses, data flows, and the dashboards. So basically we have two types of apps by default, private app and the shared app. Private apps are the only apps which are accessed by the user, and the shared apps which anyone can access. Moving on to the next one, the data sets, which is a set of formatted and optimized source data we got from the source system, which can be anything, CSV file, Salesforce data, etc. Next one is the dashboard. These are the graphical representations of data and the users which we can explore and analyze as widgets. Many of the multiple widgets similar to the components in Salesforce dashboards. If we want the current data to be displayed as dashboard, we want to update data sets first accordingly. So moving on to the next one, that is lens, which is basically saved exploration created from data sets or the visualization which is created from the data sets. Also, lens consists of many different factors, as first one is measure. As the name suggests, what is to be measured? And measure is a numerical value, like we want to count any value or we want sum or average of anything, like we can have the minimum max of any data. The second one is dimensions. Other than measures, everything is a dimension, like string values. And in dimension, we can group the data by any particular field. Third one is filters. Most important part is filter. Same as in Salesforce, like which data we want to include and which data we want to exclude. So, the next we move to the lens history, which is also known as exploration history. So, what is all about? So, you go and create lenses and you think 2 or 3 steps back, I am in a better position. So, how should I go back again? Using back browser button would not work. So Salesforce has come up with this very useful functionality, which provides us, as we continue to build lenses, we may need to go back to the previous steps, and Analytics Studio records each step and we can go back to any step. So let's start with the demo for this one. By clicking the app launcher, we can find Analytics Studio. So by clicking this, we'll be moving to the home page of the Einstein Analytics. Here we can find the different functionalities. By clicking on Create button, we can find App, Dashboards, Story, Datasets. We can create these features from here. Let's start with creating app. We can find different templates for this one, but we'll be creating blank for now. We'll continue this one and we'll provide the name for this demo app. I'll create the app. So here we go with this one, and now let's start by creating a data set. We have the different functionalities like CSV files we can upload, we can have the data Salesforce and external data or the data sets. These data sets are the data sets which are already present in the system. So let me go ahead with the CSV file. So let me choose one from my system, and from the app I can have the different options of the app, like we have the default one, my private, and the shared app. So I'll be choosing the demo app which I created now, and we have this data in the CSV file. I'll upload this file. Once the data is uploaded, we'll be having the data sets created in our demo app. So here we go. So next I'll be starting with the data flow. What is the data flow? From where we can explore that and from there we can create this one. We have a functionality data manager here. Once I click on it, we move to this page and we have the different 4 features here: monitor, data flows and recipes, data, and the connect. Monitor is basically the page from where we can see the statuses of our data sets, the data flows. And there we can find all the data flows in this Einstein Studio. Data flows is another feature that helps to establish the dashboards. It is a file that contains instructions to create data sets, which you can use for Einstein Analytics data visualization. It is basically the collection of data or table where every column represents a particular variable or each row corresponds to a given record of data sets. And we have the transformation as well. Transformation can be defined as a process of converting data from one format to another one. So by clicking on the create data flow, firstly we need to provide the name for this one. I created this. We'll be moving on to the page from where we can create the data flow. So let me start with the transformations in brief. We have around 10 to 12 widgets which we'll be using in this one, transformations. Like first one is the data set builder. First thing we come across on top panel, think of what it is as a wizard. Purpose is to build objects and relationship easily. The second one is SFDC digest and the third one is the digest. What is the difference? These two fetches data digest we use to extract data synced from any external Salesforce org, and SFDC digest to extract from your local Salesforce org. The next one is edge mark. This transformation loads existing and registers datasets that we have created outside of the data flow. The next one is append. This is used to add one dataset to another. The next one is augment. This one is about adding from one object child to another. Basically, it is about adding columns. The next one is compute expressions and compute relative. Two have similar names but different functions. Compute expression is a formula, powerful way to create fields. Compute relative is an expression, however this time it acts across rows. The next one is dimension to measure. As the name suggests, we will be using this transformation if we need to change the dimensions to measure. Next one is flatten, which is used to flatten hierarchies. Common use cases here is to get the user role so that you can add it to security predicts. Next one is filter. This is true to its name. This is used to filter records. The next one is slice datasets. This one is about dropping some of the fields that you are carrying through the transformation of the data flow. The another one is update. This allows you to update the specified field values in an existing dataset. The next one is SFDC register. Last but not the least, where all the magic happens and get recorded. We use this to save record or result into the datasets as the final result of all the transformations. Data flow. And by clicking on this run data flow, we'll be moving this data flow to the status, like from where we can check on which status we are for now. Done with the data flows, we'll be moving on to the dashboards. Once we can have this dashboards from the template and we can create the blank dashboards as well. So here is the panel here we have the widgets which we can use to have the dashboards. Like first one is chart, table, we can use filter here, containers, components, date, links, images, list, numbers, range, and two more, toggle and navigation. Like which we want to use according to our requirements. Like we want to use the toggle, I'll just drop and drag here. I can expand it according to the area. I'll just click on this. I can have this, I can use the data set from where we need to create the dashboard, or I can use the custom query as well. I can add the values, like first one is yes and the next one is no. I can add the columns, and here we go. The toggle is here, like first one is for yes and the second one is no. Here we have the different functionalities. We can change the color of the text or the borders, anything we can change according to our requirements. I can select text styles, I can change the fonts, widget styles, the background color. From here I can change this one. So another one, I can go ahead with the navigation. Also I can create the pages for these one. Like first I clone this one, I can create, I'll be moving to the next page. This one is first one and this one is the second one. So how I'll be moving into the when it is previewed. So I can use this navigation and I'll drop and drag here, so I can find the name. I'll rename this one page 1 and I'll give this page 2, so it will be more clear to us to differentiate these one. So I'll remove this from page 2. I'll be adding some table. So from here I can create the lens. We have the options like to have the sum, count, average, maximum, minimum of the data. So I can change accordingly, or I need to count the rows. So we have this data. So I'll done with the lens and there I can have this data here. Or I can use the bar charts, any type of chart I need to display. I just need to bar or group according to the stages, or I need to add sorted according ascendingly or descendingly. By the count honors I can differentiate a filter. So here I go ahead with this chart one. Also from create query we can create the different custom queries for this one, for any particular widgets. So let's preview this one. So this is the page 2. Once I click on the page 1, I'll be moving on to the first page. So once I edit this one, I'll save and I can choose here in which app I need to add this. So I'll be adding into the demo app. I'll just rename this one. I'll just save it. And here we go ahead with this dashboards, the demo dashboard. In Einstein Analytics, here I'm basically showing the binding dashboard, starting with the selection binding. Selection binding is basically a method used to update a step based on selection. So here I have the 3 basic selections like industry, account type and product family. In this I have used the stacked bar chart to make it more effective. Like if I have the selection of industry, I am getting this data. If I make the another selection of account type, it's showing me this data, and if I make the another selection, it's changing the data according to the selection. Next one, I move to the result binding, and result binding is done basically to update, and it's based on the result of another step. So here the result is basically the sum of amount, and it's done on the selection of these industries. Like if I select the top 5 industry, I get this one result, and if I select the top 10 industries, I get this result. If I select top 15, I get this one, and it changes according to the selection. The result is totally based on the selection. So that's all for it.